In here, we can install it using npm install. So again, that's the first step. We are going to update this, npm install react bootstrap, and you're also going to be installing bootstrap itself. So bootstrap space. This is going to be installing, and the other part that you need to do, if you read carefully through this documentation, is of course that you have to import the style sheet. The most easiest way to do that is to actually use a CDN, content delivery network, that always has the latest version of it, and you add that in the HTML in here. There are different ways, there are different opinions on it. I find this the easiest to work with. So I added the link. I don't need the index anymore. And now we are basically ready to use React Bootstrap. So the cool thing about it is if I want a table, I can get this table. How do I get that? Well, here is a function component using a table. But we have not created a component yet. Well, let's create our first component, the Lego set table. If we go here in the source, we can create a new folder called components. That component will hold files that are separate component, like actual components of a page, not pages as a whole. That's for the next assignment. Then we're going to make a difference there. But a component itself is a small part of a website. So I'm going to create Lego set table.js, just a JavaScript file. And now I can basically start using the how am I call it? The snippets. RFA. This one. Nope. This one. All right. I just added it. We're gonna go through, and you can start typing it by yourself. But again, this is the basis of a function component. If you look at app.js, it's mostly the same, although I prefer the arrow syntax for functions. So this is function app. I mostly use the arrow function. Now, I don't even think we need React in this case. So just a function like this should suffice. So it's an arrow function that returns JSX. So in this case, it's just a div. We capitalize it. It's always Pascal case. The file name doesn't matter as much. And now, since you export it, you can use it in different components. So let's say we have a very small div with a text in it, and I want to show it on my main page, below here, for example. Well, we can go now to app.js, and we can here add our own component. What is the syntax for this? Well, we use a smaller than sign and start the name of our component. As you can see, it finds it in the components folder. You tap it, you close it, and we have our component. And this is the basic buildup of React. So you're going to be building component on component and letting them interact with each other. Now, if you want to see it, there are some things like the developer tools for React. You can find them by just searching React developer tools and then installing the plugin. And then once they are installed, you can open the developer tools by using F12. I'm going to be opening this up. And then at the bottom here, we have components. And now you can see what kind of components do we have. We have an app component and we have a Lego set table component. That's it. Perfect. So if you want to see if your components are correctly loaded in, use the React developer tools. All right. The Lego set table is very fun and all, but it's quite empty. So what I'm going to do by pausing the video and actually using this code here, I am going to, as you can see here, import table. Let's start with that. I'm going to be importing table from React Bootstrap so that I can use the table. Now, of course, if you use just the HTML tag table with tr, td, etc., it's going to be fine as well. So for now, pause the video, try to make a table here with these fields. So take a screenshot, pause it, and try to do it for yourself. Once you're done making this table with static data, come back and resume the video. All right, we have a simple table. Just a quick peek behind the scenes. I think I have been for over 30 minutes been figuring out why my Create React app did not gel well with my react-bootstrap. Nothing worked. I get hook errors and lots of stuff. Eventually, I just created a new project. As you might see here, it's Lego Dash Collection now. And I just create new React app. I installed React Bootstrap and Bootstrap. I added the link here for the CSS. And I even tried with this. This is also fine. And now it finally worked. So I don't know what kind of conflict it had. The thing is that I was working in a project that has the same name as a different project on my hard drive. So maybe there was a kind of a tweak. So just why am I telling you this? If something goes completely wrong, just start from scratch in create a new project, copy paste over part by part and see where it goes wrong and try to solve that. So I've just closed like 15 Stack Overflow tabs, but now we can continue. We have our table. We can finalize this one. So again, this is dummy data. I really don't care for this now because in the next part, we're going to be adding data. But now, before we continue with data, I'm going to show you the ways how to create different components and have multiple of them. So again, in the exercise for the students, it says we need to create a header component for this one, for the banner. So we're going to do that. So now you should be able to know how to create a new function component. First step, create a new file. We're going to call this header.js. We're going to create a new function component called header. You know what? You can also name your files with capitals because it needs to be Pascal casing for it to work to load it into different components. So we have the header. Now, again, this is something that you will be doing quite a lot. You will be building something in a component and then think, you know what, this can be its own separate thing. And then you can copy this over. Let's go here. Now, the class name does not work. So we're going to create a new, trying to work with modules for CSS. So I'm going to create a new file called header.module.css. In that CSS file, I'm going to be copy pasting the banner one, cutting it from the other one. Voila. And now, let's close this. We can import the CSS file right here. So in our case, we can do an import. Let's import all the styles from, and then the, how's it called here? Header.module.css. And that should work. Now styles is not being used. Now you can do this. You can, instead of banner here, we can do styles dot. Is it the header or banner? Banner probably. Banner. Okay, our component is done. Now what rests us is to actually include it into the app.js. So in here, it's called header. And we're done. The CSS is not really showing through, so we have to fix that first. And of course, the mistake that I was making was just a typo mistake because in the header, we were doing styles.banner and not, here I had a capital B. So again, we have the banner. It's styled, and now you can see the banner styling is located, or is at least only used in the header component. If I were to use the banner styling in app.js, that will not be possible because it is separated into a different CSS file. So that's all. That's all for now for the general how to create components, how to style components, etc. Now we are going to continue with adding data to our function components.